Hello, my name is Bella Clever, and for my audit project, I decided to go to Universal Orlando in the studio section and ride Racing Through New York starring Jimmy Fallon and Men in Black Alien Attack. I chose both of these attractions because I had never rode either of them before, so I wanted to go into this project with an open mind without having any prior knowledge of how the attraction is run, what the queue looks like, or how the staff operates their attraction. These rides are also completely different from each other, by Race Through New York starring Jimmy Fallon being more of a 3D motion simulator type of attraction, while Men in Black Alien Attack is a shooting game with a ride vehicle and animatronics in it. With that being said, it was interesting to see how these two rides were similar in how they were set up and how the staff ran the attraction, considering they are two different types of rides with two different goals and maybe two different audiences as well, and also how they were different and how their queues were set up differently and how their staff treated the attraction differently. The first thing I noticed when going to Race Through New York starring Jimmy Fallon was the height sign as well as the warning signs that were clearly posted at the very entrance of the attraction. With both of these things there, it was clear to anyone who wanted to enter the ride about what they could expect, and also for families with children to see how tall they needed to be. I also included a picture of the sign because I was unable to observe how the staff member at the front of the ride interacted with children, considering there were no children who needed to be looked at. There were also warning signs posted at Men in Black Alien Attack, and there was also a height sign out front, but the more notable one was the one found inside of the queue right before you get into the ride vehicle. I also was not able to see any staff intercept children to scan their heights at this attraction either. Before I get into the queue, I also wanted to touch up on the difference of the very front of the attraction. At Jimmy Fallon, it was very clearly posted, the wait time on one side, the warning signs on the other, and the height in the middle with a staff member directing people in and out. The wait time was very clearly posted for anyone who wanted to enter the attraction. Men in Black was similarly set up with the clear entrance and wait time on one side and the express entrance on the other. At Race Through New York starring Jimmy Fallon, the difference between the express and the standby line was not made clear until you entered the building and came a little bit ways into the queue. Although it wasn't needed, considering there were not many people in line for the Jimmy Fallon ride, they did have a queue set up with ropes as well as handrails to clearly guide you where to go. Men in Black had handrails set up, so that guided you through the outside portion of the queue as well as to the inside portion. The handrails went all the way through the queue right until you came up to the ride vehicle. The Men in Black queue did seem longer than the Jimmy Fallon queue, as it had the outside portion, one indoor portion, and then a second indoor portion before you get into the room with the ride vehicle. The Jimmy Fallon ride had more of a waiting area before they called your group to be able to come up, but once they did, they had handrails set up where you would grab your goggles and then wait for their staff member to tell you which side to go on in order to get into your ride vehicle. In the Jimmy Fallon ride, they did have a second warning sign as well as one at the entrance to even further tell you what is expected in this attraction and whether you should ride it or not. The Men in Black one also had one right before you would get into the ride vehicle. The Men in Black attraction had multiple cast members asking for party size and then directing them which number they should stand on. Both of the ride vehicles were different from each other at both Men in Black and at Race Through New York. The Men in Black attraction had significantly more secure restraints of that than the Jimmy Fallon ride. This vehicle had a pull-down lap bar that would not move once it was down, and the staff did come by to check to make sure that it would stay down when pushed on it. The Jimmy Fallon attraction had a much larger ride vehicle than that of Men in Black, and it could hold a great number of people. This vehicle also had seat belts rather than lap bar restraints, because this attraction was a little bit less intense than Men in Black and didn't need as tough of restraints. The staff at both attractions made sure that everyone was secure and stood by at their podiums to make sure that all systems were set before sending their ride vehicles on. The exiting for this attraction was a little bit different than getting on. There were staff members posted at the exits to help everyone get off, direct them where they needed to go once they were off, and they also were able to check the vehicles to make sure that nothing was left behind, and also that everyone was clear before they sent the vehicle on to get more people. It was a little bit different at Jimmy Fallon, considering the vehicle did not move anywhere, but they did have staff, the same staff, to make sure everyone got off. They did a quick sweep to make sure nobody left anything, and then helped more people get on. Overall, I do think that Men in Black did a much better job with how they run their operation than that of Jimmy Fallon, which is to understand because this is more of an intense ride than Jimmy Fallon, so it's more important for the staff to make sure that everyone is being extremely safe and that everything is running very smoothly. The wait times for both attractions were not completely accurate either, as there was about a 10-minute differential for less over at Jimmy Fallon and about 20 minutes less than posted at Men in Black. I do think that for both attractions, maybe a corrective action could be the managers showing how to be more open to guests and more welcoming. Both the staff members, they were friendly, but they weren't very welcoming. They didn't really answer many questions from other guests who are looking to ride, and there wasn't as many instruction as there could have been on how the attraction works and what needed to be done. Overall, both attractions were very well in following the audit, and all the staff did exactly what they were supposed to do.